Hi, my name is Rick Thompson from Inclusion Works in Townsville, Queensland. I'm so excited to be sharing with you part 2 of the series The Power and Potential of ABCD, Asset-Based Community Development, and how it may impact on the lives of individuals with a disability, family members, carers and the wider community. In our previous presentation, we looked briefly at the assets that exist within individual citizens, why it is important that we focus on assets of people rather than what may be deemed as missing or broken, and the ways and means by which we can help identify the assets within ourselves and others known to us. In today's presentation, we'll be going beyond the assets of the individual citizens to those of the wider community. Communities similar to the ones that both you and I live in. I can promise you that by the end of this presentation, you will agree with me that our community is more than what we thought it was. Let us briefly recall the definition of ABCD, Asset-Based Community Development, and where the identification of the assets of community fits within it. ABCD is asset-based, internally focused and relationship-driven. Its task is to discover local assets within people and their community, and to connect these assets by way of community linking that create opportunities for these assets to be productive and valued. Before we rush off into looking for this thing called community, we need to know what it is. There are over 100 definitions of community, but for the purpose of looking deeply into the principles and practice of asset-based community development, I'd like to draw your attention to a definition of community developed by Professor John McKnight and Jody Kretzmann, the originators of ABCD, from Northwestern University, Chicago, USA. Community can be defined as the social place, the sense of human connectedness experienced by family, friends, neighbours, neighbourhood associations, schools, clubs, civic groups, local enterprises, churches, ethnic organisations, temples, even local unions, local government and local media. May I draw your attention to a number of characteristics within this definition that is important for us to be both aware of and to take into consideration when we work through our understanding of asset-based community development. The key characteristics within this definition are as follows. Community is seen as a social place, not limited by the concept of geographic space, but by the sense of human connectedness that is present. The definition is known as an associational definition of community, for you'll notice that the definition comprises of identifying a number of groupings such as family, clubs, schools, churches, who all exist because of their shared commonality. This definition invites us to consider and even be more challenged as to our level of personal confidence and competence in being involved in the various associational groups, if we are called upon to do so. This definition of community developed by McKnight and Kretzmann is more than just a definition. It is a tool that we can call upon for further inquiry. Let me share with you how Inclusion Works called upon this definition to help identify 2.4 million potential community inclusion opportunities within our community of Townsville. With the assistance of many civic leaders and community information providers, we were able to identify raw data in regards to the various associational groups identified within the McKnight-Kretzmann definition of community. For example, you'll note that within Townsville, 725 clubs have been identified. But within this single statistic, we can see the potential for more by way of introducing the creative thinking concept known as the power of 10. The power of 10 acknowledges that within a single club, such as a local cricket club, there may exist a further 10 potential community inclusion opportunities waiting, whereby the individual may contribute to the club and in so doing be a productive and valued member. An example of the community inclusion opportunities waiting within a cricket club could be becoming a valued member, becoming a financial contributing member, being a player, being a scorer, being a coach, being an umpire, being a committee member, being an equipment manager, being a team photographer perhaps, or being responsible for the developing and maintaining and monitoring of the social media within the club, being part of the fundraising team, assisting with the promotion of the club and organising the trips away. As you can see, we are already getting the feeling that there is more community opportunities out there that we previously knew. What other ways are there that we can assist us in the mapping of the assets of community so as to further extend our understanding of the potential of community? To assist us further in our study of community from an ABCD perspective, Professor John McKnight and Jodie Kretzmann took it upon themselves to identify key themes in the mapping of assets within community. You will see within this slide how ABC defines community by way of the following assets, being people, institutions and formal systems, associations and clubs, physical space, local businesses and stories. Let us pause for a moment and see how we can practically call upon this mapping tool to deepen our knowledge of community. So as to assist with this mapping process, Professors Mike and Kretzmann developed a simple mapping tool comprising of the key themes. Your task will be to identify with one of these themes, such as the theme of associations and clubs, and think of 10 different associations or clubs within your community. You may wish to hit the pause button whilst you carry out this brief exercise. This mapping exercise becomes more extensive when you call upon others to contribute to the process, especially those already who bring with them extensive knowledge and experience within the identified area that you are reviewing, such as a community recreation officer. Let's go even deeper in what I call the different levels of inquiry. You can call upon the various asset headings as a template for a deeper analysis of opportunities by placing a situation over them and identifying potential opportunities from within each asset area. Let me give you an example. Ian has always loved gardening, but since having a minor stroke, he has lost confidence and has disconnected from his community. As Ian's friend or as his local community development worker, as a starting point, you call upon the ABCD template and with Ian's involvement, collectively identify ideas within each of the asset headings, whereby Ian can reconnect and return to his passion of gardening. As you'll see from this slide, the ABCD template has been placed over Ian's situation, and consequently ideas have come forward through focusing on the different asset groupings. Let's briefly go through them. People. We can look at the neighbours and how we may share ideas and cuttings and produce, may offer support to maintain a person's garden whilst they're away, to share and to swap tools, maybe even help establish a community tool bank, to investigate who are the knowers of knowers in gardening within the community. We may also want to have a look at the associations that relate to Ian's scenario, possible gardening clubs, the Men's Shed, the gardening group, the University of the Third Age, gardening and horticultural classes, and the Vegetarian Collective. We may then look at the local businesses in the community, such as nurseries and markets such as farmers markets, hardware stores, or even travel tours where one may visit the WA Flowers, and Life Tech, a local organisation that provides gardening aids for persons with disabilities. We also may look at the physical space in the community gardens, to adopt a park or garden in the community, an open day for garden visits. So what have we discovered so far? With the assistance of Professor McKnight and Kretzmann, the definition of community we invited to redefine our understanding of community. With the assistance of the creative thinking tool, the Power of 10, we can make more out of what we know. With the assistance of knowing the various assets within community, we can further map the opportunities waiting. We can call upon using the assets map as a template for the further identifying of possible community opportunities in response to an individual's passion or need, as in Ian's case. So far through the series of ABCD presentations, we've started to develop an understanding of what ABCD is and its potential in the lives of all citizens. We've responded so far to the two key statements of we are more than what we think we are, and our community is more than what we think it was. Our next and final presentation, we will share with you how through the deliberate and conscious act of connecting the assets of individual citizens with the assets within their community, opportunities arise whereby the assets of the individual and their community become both productive and valued. Sounds like the definition of ABCD, if you tell me. Look forward to when we meet again.